Welcome to the Floral Shop podcast, where flowers and business blend seamlessly. Join our journey to uncover the secrets of elite event designers and get insights into the art of running a successful floral shop. Here is your host, Ziv Raviv.
Hello, and welcome to the Floral Shop podcast. Today with me is Robin Blood from Blumen Flower Farm, all the way from Godley, Texas. Yeah, hello, y'all. How are you, Robin?
I am so good. I'm so excited to be here. Love your podcast.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you. You've been really building up your business in the recently, especially, and has gone into this situation where you do so many things. You have a farm, you sell flowers, you sell memberships of flowers, and you design events, and it's like the real deal of the floral industry. Tell us a little bit about how you got started, Robin.
Yeah, absolutely. So I come from a completely different background. I was the director of sales for a powerlifting equipment company. And I was traveling all of the time and working all of the time. And basically me and my fiance, we found this little slice of heaven in Godley. And we decided we wanted to build our own house, like via YouTube, build our own house. So completely unqualified to be doing it. And yeah, we did it successfully. It took us 2 or 3 years and it made us really cocky. We kind of felt like we could do anything that we put our minds to. And so when COVID hit and, traveling with the director of sales position became more difficult, I kind of decided, let's reprioritize. I have always wanted to be a flower farmer. I was doing research on it. I knew that flowers were a high margin cash crop. And so I looked at Jeffrey, that's my fiance's name. And I said, hey, I think I want to be a flower farmer. And he looked at me and said, yeah, absolutely. Why not? And we just jumped right into it. At that point, the only thing I had ever grown was a 4-foot by 4-foot tomato garden. And my tomatoes were huge. And I thought, I'm qualified, no problem. And so we really jumped in head first, and I quit my job and we started building the farm. So
when did you quit your job?
So it was actually March of 2020. So right when the pandemic yep.
Wow.
Income, right?
And that was after you building your own house for 2 years. So quite jumping into the cold water immediately. So what are some of the hurdles you had to go through in building up a farm?
Well, good. So our little area, we're in North Texas. And like I said, I didn't have any experience. So the first thing I did was get a soil test. And the soil test came back and basically said, you have terrible soil, wouldn't grow here. You have no phosphorus. You have no organic matter. It's super rocky. And I was like, well, I've already quit my job and I've already titled myself a flower farmer. So we're doing it. So we started looking into kind of sustainable farming practices. And that is how, and really building up the soil rather than just trying to get something out of it. This area that we're in is just absolutely gorgeous. And so I didn't want to bring chemicals and different things to it. I wanted to really add to the soil and add to the ecology that we have. And so I came across no-till farming, which is basically, we could talk for a whole hour about what no-till farming is, but basically it's adding to the soil and being really friendly to the microbiology in the soil rather than just tilling it and just trying to get profits immediately. So
tell me more about you seem to be a person that learns things by yourself. How did you learn about no-till farming?
So I honestly, it came from a Google search. Google and YouTube have been such a good source for me. And then after I quit my job, I realized, oh man, we're flower farmers and I don't know anything about plants or anything even in that realm. And so I got a job at a local nursery down the road. They're an amazing local nursery. I told them what the plan was. I said, hey, I'm only planning on being here for a year. I'll be your hardest worker. I just want to absorb as much information as possible. And they said, okay. And so while there, they taught me everything that they knew. And I read all of the books there was on flower farming. I have just journals of notes that I was taking at that time. And then I was communicating that with Jeffrey here at the farm and saying, okay, I want these kinds of rows. And I would come home from work and we would build the farm. And so that first year was me just learning and us actually, putting in fence posts and compost and shoveling. Yeah.
How long does it take before you can actually farm your flowers for the first time and actually cash in on all of this hard work?
We sold our first bouquet April of 2021. So it was just about a year. I did find some amazing resources along the way. Like there is this rabbitry that we have down the road, which basically a rabbitry is somebody that raises rabbits. And we met this lady and we said, hey, rabbit manure is one of the best manures out there, right? It has an awesome nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium ratio to it. And so I talked to the lady that owned the rabbitry and I said, can I please pay you to clean out your barns and take your manure? And she said yes. And so that's what we did every week for months. We would go clean out her barns and we'd bring that rabbit manure back to the farm. And that it happens to be earthworms' favorite food. And so it also boosted all of our kind of the biology of our soil. It gave it a crazy super boost. And so now, 4 years in, the soil is beautiful, if I do say so myself.
So how big do you need, like the size of the barn for this to make sense? And like, hopefully you have a rabbitry nearby.
Exactly. I know. It's a hack. She has about, I think she keeps, of course it rotates because she sells to pet stores and things like that. But she had about 300 rabbits at the time. And we would clean out her barn just about every week for 6 months. And so we would go and we'd pay her like $150 for a truck bed full of rabbit manure. And then we would get home and we'd shovel that onto the next bed, basically. And that one truck bed would do like 6 rows. And then we'd go back.
And is that like a part of the no-till system to use like manure, like animal manure? You can't like just buy bags of phosphate or whatever and just kind of like replace that?
Good question. So we started with such a deficit in organic matter that we needed everything we could get our hands on. So we brought in a ton of compost, which is just green waste, basically. So from trees and different things like that, that's been mulched and broken down. We added that to the beds. But then we also knew we needed a manure of some sort. And bagged would work. We just had such a large space that we needed it in bulk. And I didn't want to go, not that we would have gone cow manure or more normal manure, but then I found this rabbit lady on Facebook of all places.
Love it. So you were not making any money during this whole year.
Mm-hmm.
How did you manage?
Yeah. So we, because we built our own house, we kind of built it as we had money. And so we only pay on our land, which is $500 a month because we bought land before it was crazy expensive. And so me working at the nursery, I think I was making $10 an hour at the time, which was great money then. 3-4 years ago. And we just lived on that income. So not going out and getting coffee anywhere. Like we were just very frugal. I remember our date nights were whenever we wanted to celebrate something, we got a field done or whatever, we would go to a Mexican restaurant down the road and we got chips and salsa, of course, because it's a Mexican restaurant. And then we would split a quesadilla, which sounds so sad, but we had so much joy in it. Like we loved it. It was our date night. And so we were just really frugal and really conscientious. And all of our money went into building the farm. I think back and we should have been a lot more scared and a lot more hesitant, but we just weren't. We just knew we were going to make it work. And so we did.
Wow. So fast forward into the present, we're doing this interview in March 2024. And these days, your business is blooming and in all sorts of ways. So just to kind of jump to the end figure, how much are you doing in a year these days with the Blumen Flower Farm?
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't even say last year we did about 100,000. And that was split between, we do weddings, we grow for brides, we have a subscription service that we deliver to, we do custom arrangements, we have our own little florist shop. And then we also, anything that we don't have that's going to a client or an event, we sell wholesale. So there's very little waste in the business. And I say that's not an accurate number this year because this year has been even busier than last year. Like the growth trajectory has just been absolutely amazing. So yeah, we'll see what we do this year. But last year it was a little over 100,000.
So how does that break into like the different parts of your business? If you can share with us, like what actually brings in those 100K? And congratulations for getting to the six figure.
It's still surreal to us too. So we started with, it's so interesting because when we first started, we thought, okay, we're going to sell wholesale flowers and we're going to do farmers markets. And because that's what, when you're a farm, that's what you do. You go to farmers markets and wholesale. And we started there. And that's how we really kind of first met our clientele, right? We met the people in our local area. And I love that. I love talking to customers and meeting them and becoming, you kind of develop this relationship. And then that led into, we were like, farmers markets, you're limited to the number of people that actually come to the market. And we grew all these flowers. And so we opened the farm up to free farm tours. And this is right after COVID. So people were still looking for things to do with the family that was outside. And so and it was super simple. I was basically like, hey, message me if you want to come do a farm tour. And basically people would show up with their whole family. And if they felt like it, at the end of the tour, they would buy a bouquet. And that turned into us having hundreds of people out at the farm our first year and meeting, and it built our social media. It just built our client base so much because we were so generous with our time. And rather than trying to like make money off of every little thing, like selling tickets, we're like, no, just come, just enjoy. And then if you want, buy flowers to take home. Right. And so the farmers markets kind of progressed into the farm tours. And then that turned into us having our own florist shop here on the property. So now we have customers that call in and they place orders just like a normal, for birthdays or anniversaries, Valentine's Day, anything like that. And that's turned into probably about 20% of our sales. We have that consistent client base. And then we said, you know what, we have these regular customers. Why don't we just deliver to them on a regular basis? And so we got our subscription model, or we came up with our subscription model, which is basically our clients choose if they want flowers once a month, every other week, or every week. And we have a delivery route, and it's kind of like farmer's choice. So whatever's blooming in the field, I make the arrangements and we deliver to them. Right. And so it's whatever product we have, and they love it because it's constantly changing. I mean, the field is constantly changing. So they really get to see like what's seasonal and what's fresh. And so we've developed a name for ourselves because everything is coming straight from the farm for the amount of base life that we have. Because versus things having to be shipped in from, Ecuador or South America, they were cut last night and they're on their table this morning. And so the flowers are lasting twice as long as normal flowers. And,
wow.
And that subscription that's probably another 20% of the business, which has been, which is just super fun because you see these people every week and then they know your flowers just as well as you do. It's awesome. And then we got into weddings, of course, right? Because you're a florist shop. And so then somebody asked me, hey, will you do my wedding? And I remember it was our first year and I was just absolutely terrified because event space. I mean, it is high stakes. You need to deliver on the day. There is no ifs, ands, or buts, right? And so I took it very serious the first time somebody asked me to do their wedding and realized that it was kind of the epitome of what my flowers could bring someone, because I've seen them go from this seed to a seedling to a baby in the field to a beautiful flower. And then for that flower to go to someone's, bridal bouquet, like to see that. And it means so much to them. I'm like, wow, that's the ultimate thing that I can grow for someone. And I just absolutely fell in love with the process. And so we really expanded it. And now we have a whole kind of organizational process in a field dedicated to our weddings. And so I meet with our brides and they tell me what their color scheme is, what colors they like and don't like, flowers they like and don't like. And we grow specialty blooms for their wedding day. And then we have, obviously sometimes they come out and visit if it's a particularly like flower happy bride, like how I just love flowers. They'll come out and visit the farm. They'll do their bridal photos with the flower that they chose. Yeah. And then on their wedding day, of course, they have the flower and I give them a little seed packet on their wedding day for them to grow, when they get home. And then it's just like a constant reminder of what kind of they decided to make this a big special, their flowers a special thing. So they have them for the rest of their life. So yeah, weddings are so fun.
How much do you charge for weddings, for this really like 360 experience?
So, it's interesting because initially I was like, man, we're going to be because of this whole process, like we're going to cost more than regular florists. And it actually turned out we're about the same price as a premium florist, but not overpriced because I don't pay for my flowers. I have them, if that makes sense. So like I get my flowers at a better cost than a florist does buying wholesale. And so I can kind of create that experience and be the same price as a florist because I don't pay as much for my flowers. So we're very affordable. We have brides everywhere from, we do the $1,500 weddings all the way to the $15,000 weddings. So we kind of do the whole breadth of it.
That's so exciting. How do you get people to learn more about you? I mean, I understand those days, those 3 times a year where people can visit your farm, the farm visits. That's what I like to call the free party, right? People can show up and they join your email list and they join your social media, they support you and they buy potentially a bouquet, which makes it all worthwhile. But then they know about you and they know that you do weddings and whatnot. But do you do anything else to market your business?
Great question. So we focus on social media a lot, and I focus on education. So we create constant value for anybody that's following us, whether it's literally like creating your own bridal bouquet. I'll put that knowledge out there, growing your own flowers, that knowledge. And so that's allowed us to grow our social media base pretty quickly. And so we get a lot of business that way. And then I've said yes to everything. So the master gardeners will ask me to come speak to them, their meetings, and I'll go. I just did a speaking engagement for the Salvation Army, and I'll go do, and it'll be anything they want me to. So the story of our farm or growing in Texas, tips and tricks, things like that. And then I don't ask for compensation for that, right? Kind of going back to the free party. But then I'm standing in front of 60 people that I get to tell my brand story to. I get to tell who I am, what I do. And by the way, I do weddings. And so that's gotten us a ton of people. And then the other thing that's really helped is that photographers reach out all the time, right? They want to shoot at the flower farm. And normally venues, they have a, $100 an hour, and you can come and you can bring your people out to the farm and do a photo shoot. And rather than doing that, what we've done is I say, yep, you're welcome to bring your people out. We coordinate schedules. But in trade, I don't want you to pay me. In trade, I want you to do a little mini photo shoot of me and my team harvesting flowers or designing or doing anything like that. And then tag me in everything that you post. And so I get the exposure of them tagging me to their whole audience. And then I also get really high quality media content to put on our social media or website or whatever. So those probably I think that was 3. Those 3 things have gotten us very consistent business.
This is really great stuff. Talk me through the conversation you have with a client about the memberships, about the subscriptions on flowers, because maybe they heard about you. They didn't necessarily hear about the fact that you have a membership, and they just wanted to buy some flowers because they heard about you. Maybe they even visited you. How do you actually explain to them that this is more than just one bouquet? It's a membership.
Right. A lot of the businesses come from like a husband who wants to get flowers for his wife or something like that. And then he sees because we have everything listed on our website. He's like, oh, I can get a custom arrangement for $100, say. And then he sees, oh, you have a subscription here and those subscription packages, the bouquets, of course, because it's consistent, are priced a little bit less than what a custom arrangement would be, right? So the same bouquet, but costs a little bit less because for me, it's consistency. And so he says, oh, that's a good value. And then he says, oh, I can get credit for giving my wife flowers every 2 weeks, right? So then they see, oh, that comes in consistently, and it's a better price as flowers go. And then they sign up for the subscription service. We haven't had to do a ton of selling on it, honestly, because people love our flowers. So, because I grow weird, funky things that you don't see just generally in the floral industry. It's kind of specialty things. I'm not going to take up farm space with baby's breath. I love baby's breath in its space, but I grow different things that are a little bit more unique. And so people have fallen in love with that too.
So where do you see your business go to? Like, what's your next challenge or opportunity that you see?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the last year, we have about a team of 5, and that help me on the farm. And they are up and coming designers, and kind of our hiring practices are a little bit different in the fact that everybody that we have on the team has aspirations higher than just being my employee, if that makes sense. So they want to be flower farmers, or they want to have their own florist shop, or they're looking for next steps. And I appreciate that because they're very invested in learning. And so they're very kind of moldable. And that has created, we have like a very invested team of designers that we can do more with. Because when it was just me, we were, of course, limited, what can I get done in a day as far as an event installation goes or anything like that. So going forward, I would like to do more weddings and events. I have fallen in love with quinceañeras. Have you ever heard? Do you know what those are? No. So quinceañeras, it is a Hispanic coming of age birthday for women, for girls at 15 years old. Oh, 16 years old, 15. I want to say it's 15. And it's a big coming of age party. And they are so fun. There's flowers. It's like a wedding, but it's a birthday party. And so think more colorful, more balloons, more sparkles. And it's a whole event space in and of itself. And so I'd like to do more of those, more of the weddings. And then also we are starting to get hooked into different country clubs in the area and kind of doing those large hotel installations and floral.
I love it. This is so inspiring to see your trajectory and your growth from building a house to deciding to spend a whole year of your lives in figuring out farming, and nowadays with selling, with an amazing free party, with selling, building relationships with the community and with photographers, and all the way through, selling memberships and selling and designing events, and really that moment where that you grew that flower, you cleaned that rabbit tree, and that manure is now growing those buds and those flowers that bride asked for. And then on her very special, very important day, she is surrounded by all of this beauty, and it's all thanks to your hard work. That's very inspiring. We're now going to play the Floral Shop podcast game show. Are you ready?
I am ready. Let's do it.
Awesome. So question number 1. What's an eco-friendly way for a florist to dispose unsold flowers? A, launching them into space with flower-powered rocket. B, donating them to local hospitals or nursing homes. C, hosting a flower farewell bonfire party. Or D, turning them into confetti for a garden party celebration.
Ooh, I absolutely love B, breaking them down and giving the flowers onward. I love that.
But sometimes we need to just compost our leftovers and stuff like that. So what do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm super lucky in that since I grow my flowers, I know that there's no chemicals on them. And so I put them in our compost pile or harvest the seeds from them, or we have animals, and just make sure that they go back to the ground.
Love it. Question number 2. How can a florist enhance the longevity of cut flowers in a vase? A, sprinkling them with magic dust. B, singing a lullaby to each flower at bedtime. C, changing the water regularly and trimming the stems. Or D, placing a crystal ball next to the bouquet for good vibes.
All tempting offers, but I'm going to go with C, changing the water and cutting the stems regularly.
But do you have any additional tips?
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. I always tell people that don't rely on your flower food. I hesitate to give people flower food because I say it makes you lazy. The best thing really is to just change the water, clean the base if you're feeling particularly energetic, because really the trick is just keeping that bacteria from going in the stem.
Oh, so that's why it's important to also clean the base.
Exactly.
Question number 3. When discussing floral colors, what does the term monochromatic mean? A bouquet of only black and white flowers. B, a color scheme using variations of a single color. C, arranging flowers based on their fragrance. Or D, using holographic paint for an otherworldly effect.
It's going to be B, using different shades of a single color.
And do you find it hard because you grow your own flowers? Do you find it hard sometimes that some color is missing and you wish you would grow some specific additional colors? Or how do you tackle that?
Yes. So if something like that happens, we've built quite a community of different farmers in the United States. And so I will order flowers in from other farms if for some reason I don't have a specific color or a crop didn't work out or something like that.
Sweet. Question number 4. How can a florist create a floating floral centerpiece illusion? A, hiring levitation experts for each flower. B, using transparent fishing line to suspend flowers in the air. C, incorporating helium-filled blossom balloons. Or D, convincing the flowers to embrace anti-gravity yoga.
I love the yoga. Absolutely the fishing line. Fishing line is amazing and absolutely you'd never see it. And it's just, it's one of my favorite tricks.
Sweet. And question number 5, the final question. What's the ideal location for planting sunflowers in a garden? A, in a sunny spot with well-drained soil. B, hidden behind other shy flowers. C, sunflowers only, VIP garden section. Or D, sunflowers on a moonlit hill for cosmic energy.
They are pretty dang simple. A sunny spot, well-draining soil, they'll do amazing.
And you are correct. And Robin Blood, you win our prize of today, which is that since you already have all these people in your email list that attended your free party and your farm visit, we are going to design and write for you a newsletter that you could send to all of your people in your email list, including like meeting us on a session where we show you how to replace the pictures and copy and just kind of brainstorm ideas of how to use the newsletter. And we'll sort out after this interview to make sure you get the maximum value from this gift.
So excited. Thank you.
I want to thank you, Robin Blood, from Blumen Flower Farm, all the way from Galilee, Texas, for sharing with us your journey and your tips and advices. You've been so transparent and awesome. I really appreciate you. So thank you so much, Robin.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This has been so fun.
Thanks for tuning into the Floral Shop podcast. For more floral resources and stories, visit our website, floralshoppodcast.com, or step into our school at floralshopacademy.com. Don't forget to subscribe for our next flowery adventure. Keep blooming until we meet again.